Steno, I'm sure, it's a good thing to have receivers want to get more targets. How have you seen Golden still, blocking, running his routes even when he's not getting the ball this year?
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of those things, for him, just trust the process and keep working. And he's trying to do all the little things that we ask our wide receivers to do without the ball, just like you said, with the blocking and everything else. And it's only a matter of time for him before thinks he has one of those games where he's like, oh wow, that's why he's here.
We know that Luke's not Tucker, but what's the biggest thing, most important thing that Luke can give you as presumably?
Yeah, I think he's a different kind of player than Tucker in the pass game. He provides a really good down the field threat. He's got really good speed. He's long, good range when he catches the ball. So I think that'll, just kind of put him in the forefront of our offense as far as like getting him more targets and things like that, to take over that role. So, and it'll be interesting to see just kind of how the rest of this thing goes with him, because he may surprise us in other ways too. And that's kind of the interesting thing about how, just our entire offense right now is just different guys got to step up, and we'll see kind of how it goes. But I'm excited about that.
You mentioned last week what opponents are putting on tape versus what they're throwing at you being pretty different. Mm-hmm. Obviously not asking specifics, but what's it like preparing for that, all those variables?
Yeah, you got to have a good foundation, and I think that's one of those things that you develop in training camp, and you're able to lean back on things as games go, like, oh, okay, this isn't what we're getting, what we planned for, so we can kind of go back to other schemes or other concepts that we've done, and it helps now you have some guys with more experience where they can lean on those past experiences, those past plays, and still go out and execute.
What do you think is missing just in your run game right now, especially up front?
I think, we haven't hit as many explosive runs as we had in the past. But like you go back and look in last game, for example, it was pretty good. Like you go back and watch the run game and you're like, okay, we ran the ball pretty well. So it's just one of those things. We just got to keep working on our fundamentals. There's always things to clean up, whether it's scheme or whether it's fundamentals or whatever it is. So I'm not going to lose faith in that. I love Josh Jacobs. I love how he's running. He's doing a great job. So, yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before we, start getting it going.
We've had to deal with injuries. Elton, at a new position in the middle. Banks, a new guy. Are you still figuring out what you do best, what plays run the best?
No, I think we have an idea. But, especially in particular with Banks, I think he's playing really well. But his problem is we're having a hard time getting him to finish games, getting dinged up with different things. So that's one thing that I think, we can get him in for a steady amount of time. It definitely will help for sure. But I think the other guys, they're all doing a great job stepping up and filling different roles. So I don't want to take away from anyone else because they're all doing what we ask them to do.
So what do you think of Wiley, the tight end that you guys just brought up?
Yeah, I like him. I like his attitude. He's played before in Tennessee, so it's not like you're getting a guy that's never played in an NFL game before. He's done it. Again, he's a big guy. He's got good range. He's fast, and I like his mentality. He wants to be a physical player, and so yeah, it'll be good.
I know there's never any one answer to it, but the last handful of games, the second half scoring versus the first half scoring has been pretty different. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that stands out? Is it how defenses are defending you early?
Yeah, I think that kind of has a part of it in certain games, not all the games, but in certain games. Like for this last game, we just didn't have the ball very much. We had the ball 3 times in the first half, so it's just getting the rock, making some plays. But yeah, I would love for us to really focus on starting faster for sure.
I guess how often on the line are you rotating guys and like getting exposure to it? Like Sean Ryan playing left guard when Banks went in. Like, is he getting a good amount of time at left?
Yeah, that's
right?
one thing, you know, that you do. You work in rotations. You make sure guys, if you see them as a possibility of playing in the game at a certain amount of positions, you got to make sure they're getting those reps in practice. So yeah, Coach Buckus spends a good amount of his time in the mornings just making sure all the rotations are good for where he wants the offensive lineman to play and what plays they get during practice, for sure.
You know, going to that Philly game, and then obviously you get some guys injured in that game, but, you know, this offseason, Goody signs Banks, he moves out in the guard, you know, Jordan Morgan's healthy, so he's playing. So, Looney, you look big picture at the line, are you disappointed with how they've performed as a whole? Are you encouraged by what you've seen? I guess what's your kind of 30,000-foot view of that group?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at them, again, we just talked about, I like what our O-line's done as a whole. If you look at, we've had a lot of guys play in a lot of different positions, whether it's DK or Belton or Sean Ryan bouncing around, Jordan Morgan bouncing around. So from that perspective, I feel really good about, we have eight guys and then some other guys that haven't even played yet that I think we can put in a game and function and do a good job and win games. So from that perspective, I'm very pleased with how we're going as an offensive line. But yeah, I think, you know, there's always stuff you can get better on. And yeah, it's just kind of it's just still a process that we're trying to get going. And every week we're still just kind of figuring out, you know, the rotations and who's going to be our 5 guys starting, because again, there's a lot of competition in that room.
So this is, well, I know the centers and, you know, kind of leads the line calls, so I don't want to put it all on Elton, but there were some free runners last game, probably more than you wanted and more than the expectation. Is he slow to acclimate?
No, I wouldn't put that on Elton at all. Like, those are things that, like, you know, we talk about with the protections. Those are adjustments that some of them are on the quarterback, some of them are on Elton, some of them are on the schemes, where we just got to do a better job with the plays that we call. It's definitely not on Elton though.
So how do you get that cleaned up? I mean, you're 2
Yeah,
months into the season, you got a training camp and all that.
Yeah, you got to make sure we're focused on fixing that stuff.
Do you think you can get much out of Fitzpatrick as a receiver?
Yeah. No, he does a good job catching the ball. Again, a little bit, you know, he's different than Musgrave, but like he's a very good receiving tight end. He can, again, big guy, a lot of range, and he can make some plays. So he's caught a touchdown this year. You know, he's done a good job with everything we've asked of him.
What is the challenge you got this week with their front?
Big challenge. Obviously, extremely talented. They just added Jalen Phillips. You know, they're getting Brandon Graham back, and we'll see what happens with Nolan Smith. But, you know, they have a really physical front, big guys. They can rush the passer. They can play the run. I think their linebackers are excellent. So, yeah, they're a really good defense. It's going to be a great matchup. I'm excited about it just to see, you know, how we respond, and playing against a defense like that, that's going to be very telling.